The cake at Theo's 13th was built like a set of stairs going up and up and up and twisting back on itself. Climbing the stairs in their impossible loop were tiny round bots that cycled around the cake like moons around a planet. I wondered briefly if maybe his latency had something to do with robotics. First, the drones that had delivered the invitations, and now these bots. But then my mind was drawn back to the cake. Each stair was a different flavor: chocolate, vanilla, raspberry, pistachio, lemon, coconut, almond, strawberry, mocha, on and on and on. I had never known there could be so many different flavors of cake. How is this even possible? I asked Benji and Julia.
Programming those bots would actually be pretty basic, Benji said. I could show you how if you wanted. Easy peasy.
No, I mean all those flavors of cake. I heard his mom went to like 6 different bakeries, including some on the outside, Julia said, scuffing her patent leather shoe against the ground. She wore a purple dress that was way tighter than anything my parents would ever let me wear. Its straps were skinnier than those on the tank top she usually wore, and I could see how deeply golden her skin had already turned in the sun. I tugged on the capped sleeve on my own blue dress, dotted with tiny white flowers. Theo's mom never goes outside of Old Harmonie, I replied. It was an overwhelming decision, which flavor of cake to have, but I was leaning toward coconut with a little bit of the raspberry, or maybe mango with lemon frosting. Right, exactly, Julia said. But for her perfect baby's 13th, anything goes. She brushed her hand over her shoulder. Normally, she wore her dark hair in 2 tight braids, but today it was twisted into a fancy poof at the back of her head, threaded through with purple ribbons. My hair was so plain in contrast, long and straight, with only a thin headband to hold it out of my eyes. We had almost the exact same shade of dark brown hair, but that was where the similarities ended. She was tall, and I was short. She liked sports and boys and doing craft projects, and I didn't really care for any of that. I liked growing things and being out in the woods and reading books, which she could do without. But those were all just surface things, about as relevant as the color of our hair. What mattered was that we knew each other inside and out, backward and forward, and would be there for each other no matter what. That's what makes a best friend. The party was being held in the function hall of Krita headquarters. It looked like a big red barn right down to the huge sliding doors, but no animal had ever lived there. The doors were closed, but the windows were open to let in the summer breeze, while the air coolers spun the warm air until it chilled. Big glass globes hung from the high ceilings, the lights inside slowly changing their soft colors right through the rainbow. It wasn't easy to get access to the function hall. It was mostly meant for corporate events, team-building things or quarterly meetings, or celebrating new parents. Usually, people held their 13ths in their own village at a restaurant or maybe the local library. I was hoping to have mine in the village museum. I planned to announce my latency right by the display of dinosaur bones. I looked over at Theo, who, at that moment, was at the center of a bunch of the top administrators of the Krita Corporation. He looked small in his blue suit, smaller than the men and women who gathered around him bestowing their worldly advice on him. Even his shaggy hair, which I had heard some of the 8th grade girls call swoony, made him look like a little boy. Personally, I thought his hair was ridiculous. I regularly wished for a pair of scissors so I could cut those bangs right off. They were always falling across his face, blocking out his honey brown eyes. Not that I noticed the color of Theo Starsguard's eyes. I wonder if he already knows, I said. Do you think she's already given him his code? I can tell you what Theo's genetic code is, Julia replied. 1 part smarts, 1 part good at sports, 2 parts sarcasm